Greetings to you all from Global Self-Education Platform. I am Dr. Kafayat Lamidi. Today, we have been able to bring a special guest to the platform today. Join me to welcome Barrister Hamdalah Amusa. She is a solicitor and as well as the founder of Ahab Center, a Safati organization. Today, she will share a wealth of experience and expertise with us on the topic entitled Relationship Reconciliation, Dichotomy, and Dilemma. The aim of this topic indeed is to promote peace and love in relationships of any format or any kind. However, the main objective is to foster a global educational advancement in relation to choice, completion, and attainment. So, Barrister Hamdalah will help us to provide insight into a series of cases today, and I hope you will all enjoy the lecture. This next that we are ready.
Well, I give all adoration to God Almighty, the Lord of the universe, the owner of our soul, our creator, our maker, the one who has destined today to be a reality for us. We thank him. And I thank my sister, my beloved sister, Dr. Kafayat, for inviting me, for asking me to come over. I'm so happy and I feel highly honored to be part of our program. And Alhamdulillah, sincerely, when I see women doing things like this, I see myself in them. So I do not have a choice than to support and give the little I can so that we all can benefit from one another.
Thank you very much.
We are living in a world and time where everyone is so busy and concerned about themselves. You know, not too many people care about others. So she's doing a great job, and I want to say thank you for having me on the program. You know, may you be rewarded divinely and greatly.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, welcome once again to our platform. The first case we're going to look at is about a Christian family, Anthony, the husband, and the wife is Antonia. I put that case one as not sharing from the onset. I will let Barrister Hamdalah proceed to review the case for us.
The first case before me reads, this is a Christian family home. The name of the husband is Anthony and the wife is Antonia. Wedding was just 2 years when Anthony requested for Antonia's financial support for his studies. At that time, Antonia could not support due to her own personal projects. In other words, building a house, which was on the way. Unfortunately, Antonia could neither progress nor complete his studies. This lack of mutual support or sharing became the primary issue in the relationship. Since then, the couple have been experiencing challenges getting along with each other smoothly. Antonia has done and tried everything to bring Antoni's mind back to her. One vital aspect of her efforts include giving Antony all her savings. And it is unbelievable that Antony has not been using the money for anything but saving them. He had it. Her money is there whenever she needs them. I am going to give it back to her. In other words, that he's not going to touch a penny from the money Antonia gave to him. Anthony believes that his wife's money is no longer useful to him because of the time when he needed it has passed. According to Anthony, his wife is his enemy to progress. This carried on for years and years and years. Anthony then vowed not to have any sexual affair with his wife any longer. Their only son is now 10 years old, so Anthony made the decision to move out of the marital home and live alone. Since then, Antonia remains single. What else could she try? That's the question. From the scenario we get, this is a very young couple, newly wedded, just married. My understanding of this scenario is that the marriage is only 2 years old. And for goodness sake, 2 years old is still little. It is a learning process for couples. Many people in marriage will testify to that fact, that when you are new in a marriage, when you are new in your marital relationship, is a learning process, because this is two persons coming from different background, from different home, from different mom, dad, different orientation, different culture sometimes. In fact, different languages sometimes, because there's this cross-border marriages and other stuff. Now coming together as husband and wife, and within just 2 years, you are holding on to the fact that a mistake that was committed by the wife has to survive for the whole life. Life must not continue because of this. This is not fair for a marriage. In marriage relationship, for it to work, there has to be sacrifices. It's good to be a give and take thing. There's no crime in that, but it takes some time for the couples to understand each other so that you can get along. You know, I would have suggested that Anthony give Antonia some more time, and since she has realized and trying to mend, you know, this is a case of retaliation versus reconciliation, so to say, because the husband is saying, hang on a minute, I'm not going to take this shit. Like, I have to, you know, I have to get back at her and things like that. So, which is not very good. It's not really looking good for the marriage, you see. So, and talking about the reconciliation bit, you see, Antonia, on her part, she's trying to do her best to bring out the best in herself, just to prove to Anthony that she's not really a bad person. It was just circumstance, or maybe, so to say, according to the scenario. It could happen to anyone. It happens a lot, and so many homes has broken out of this. But I want to believe that the purpose of this, of bringing it out, is what can we do and how can we do things differently. Number one is for us to understand that in our marriages, there's going to be challenges. You either have your challenges in the beginning, middle, or at the end, you see. But we really don't want a challenge that will bring our marriage to an end. So in that end, if it comes in the beginning, it's good, because it's a great time and opportunity for the couples to learn from each other and learn from their mistake and move on. Towards the end of this scenario, they have a child who is now 10 years old, for goodness sake. You know, this is another soul. This is another party. This is another stakeholder in that marriage, in the union, in the relationship, that they have to think about as well, you see. So in a marriage, in a nutshell, is that we shouldn't fight back. Not fight back in marriage relationship, that you do this for me, I do that for you. And this happens because most of us, we see marriage relationship as transaction, like a transaction. Yeah, you know, I give you this, you give me that, like a tit for tat thing. When I'm kind to you, you have to be kind to me. When I'm good to you, you have to be good to me. If I spend on you, you have to spend on me. You know, sometimes it doesn't work like that. We are different in our making, and what we are endowed in different ways as well, you see. So we just try to talk to two of them to become a bit more calmer and show more understanding towards each other, then that way the marriage can still survive the test of time. Because this is just a very, they've not really enjoyed their matrimony, sadly, and the child, unfortunately, is being deprived. The child, the 10 years old child is paying a big price in this. What that means is that that child is being deprived of parental love, parental care, parental affection, parental whatever you can name it, you see. So in turn, it's going to affect the child's upbringing and then maybe emotional development, and all of this is not really looking good, you see. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you very much for your contribution in that regard. So we will go to the next case, which is a little bit slightly different from the first one, but having similar ending. It's entitled Sharing from the Onset, but the end result is just similar to this one. And I will leave it to Barrister Hamdalah to provide an insight on this case.
Well, summarily, the case number 2 before me is about a Muslim family this time. This is a Muslim family home. Saidat, the wife, and Sahidi, the husband. Their wedding is just 4 years old when things started to take a turn. Initially, Saidat was the breadwinner of the family, and she shared everything with her husband, to the extent that extra income was given to Said for his own personal doings. After the birth of their second child, things changed. This was due to the closure of Saidat's financial source. Now, Sahid must work and provide for the family of 4. Contrary to Saidat's expectations that Sahidi will do the same as she used to do during her own time, this is not the case for Saidi. Saidat describes her husband as a very greedy and selfish man that cannot use his money to play with his own self. Whilst the couple continues to live together, things deteriorate daily. As a coping mechanism, Saidat derives pleasure by disclosing her relationship issues on social media. And the question is, what approach could she have taken? Well, I am very glad because this is a Muslim home. So, but sadly, the last bit is the reason why I'm much more happy and glad, because we have protocol. In Islam, there's a manual, there's regulations, which is the Quran. You can talk to your imam, you can seek counseling, you can seek support from your local community and wherever you belong if you are struggling in your marriage. But the problem begins from the wife sacrificing. This happens especially where our background, where we come from, where people struggle economically, and someone has to be there, someone has sacrificed for the other person, you see. So it's not always very easy. It's not in every home that you find both husband and wife working as a working class, and then they don't really care what they spend or who put this down. And secondly, is this happens a lot as well in the West. When you go work, the husband go work, the wife to go work, then there comes in place sharing formula. Who takes who does who pays the bill, who pays the house rent, and things like this. Well, it works for the people that we inherited this from, but it's not really part of Islam. Number one problem with this scenario is that it's not the job of the wife in the first place to cater or to look after the family of 4. It's not our job. She's been married for over 4 years and she's the breadwinner of the family. That's not fair on her person. When Allah makes women, we are created and fashioned in such a way that we are very fragile. We are not strong. Little things break women, you see. So she has extended, like, she's used up all her shock absorber. Now after the birth of our second child, obviously the problem here is change in circumstance. Change is necessary in our life. Everyone's going to experience change at one point or the other. Accepting that change and moving on is the problem in this case. The husband has refused to acknowledge that there's this change in the circumstance and the wife can no longer, contribute to the family the way she's normally been doing, you see. And I think what would have been fair on the part of the husband is to show more understanding towards the wife. The second child that came, it means she's got one before. This is the second child, additional person to the family. You see, the wife's doing a great job. She's doing a good job. It's not easy. So you need to appreciate her for who she is and what she has done. Giving you children alone is hard work. So adding more to it that she should go and fetch for the family, or she has to go and work for money again after carrying your pregnancy, having a childbirth, and other things like breastfeeding, weaning, and all these are full-time job on their own. So if she's not able to do this, the husband is meant to take up his responsibility. Saida doesn't have to beg Saidi to put money down, to put food on the table, to look after his own children, for goodness sake. You see? So in this case, I think what's going to make this really worse is the evil of the social media. The social media impact that Saida is trying to use, because there's nothing good that's going to come for her within the social media platform. She's either going to get bad advice or look at some pictures or some novel stories which are not even real, about some marriages, some photoshops and all those things, and you think, oh my God, that marriage is perfect. My marriage is not perfect. The social media is just going to worsen our case. It's going to worsen our situation, because then she's just going to look like, oh my God, I'm duped or something like that, which is not it, you see. This is a situation of two persons, two personalities who are different from each other. So what is lacking is understanding and accepting one another for who they are. And it's, in fact, summarily, is that it's the job of Saidi to provide for the family, and Saida she doesn't need any social media approval for her life. Everyone is going through one thing or the other in their family or in their matrimony, in their marriage. We just have to deal with it. We have to accept that it is normal. It's bound to happen, because this is two people from different family background, from who choose to come together as husband and wife. So, and we want to start our own family. There are children here that we need to look after jointly, so that our society is going to become a better place for all.
Thank you very much. I hope I answered that. Definitely, you did really well. We really appreciate that input. In relation to Saida's social media engagement, what could you advise her? What other things could she do to engage us rather than disclosing
on social media? Rather than disclosing marital issues on social media, Saida can engage herself in some educational programs that is going to better her life. She can sign up to some programs to get her mind off whatever it is she's going through. It doesn't have to be paid program. There are lots of free programs there. If it's here in the West, there's lots of short courses that she can sign up to. This will engage her, and then she's going to be able to judiciously use her time. And if it's back home, I can say that there are many organizations doing great jobs back home. Like we have vocational courses, some learning computer, some digital skills and everything like that. So she can do herself lots of good by diverting that attention into improving her own person, her personality, herself. That's going to take her mind off the injustice that she might be thinking is being done to her from the husband.
In the case where she's also a student, currently on a doctoral program,
okay,
and sometimes PhD itself is challenging, you are under pressure. You have the challenge of the academic, you have the personal challenge from home. So, what could you say in that regard? Not that she's not engaged academically, she is a doctoral student, but she still derive pleasure from posting things on social media to relieve her of all these worries. And so, apart from what you've just mentioned, can you think of any other ways you can go around this?
Yeah, I think the one of those things that could help Saida in this case, so that she doesn't lose focus, is to go back to a drawing table. Every one of us, we have planned for ourselves, we have planned for our life. You have like a picture of who you want to be, you see. So when you see something taking you off that track, if she's in fact studying for the doctoral courses and there's a PhD, that's enough hard work. That's enough to get one busy. So if you still have time to go on social media, you just need to be self-disciplined to say, right, when I go on this place, I'm going there to learn or to teach people something. You know, be positive about yourself. And I think most of the problem is just because majority of women, especially, we are seeking validation from the social media. We think people out there are the ones that can validate the kind of life we live or we should be living, or that we can live or that we have to live, which is wrong. Everyone's social media life is the fake life. It's not real. You see, there's nothing you take from social media. It's fake. It's fake. So I think she just needs some local support to get her back on track. It's quite normal and it's common. It's common, sadly, even though that's not Islam. But then sometimes we just you get distracted and we get caught up in some things that you just don't know how to handle them. But it's something that with prayer and steadfastness, she can probably get through.
Thank you very much. That's amazing. Steadfast. So thank you very much. We move on to the next case, which is case 3. This is about Ada and Ade, the competing couples. Let's hear from our barrister the summary of this case and our insights.
Well, every judgment and every contributions I'm making is not according to the law. It's according to social norms, social practices, and experience. Because some of our viewers might say, "Oh, she's a barrister, it's coming from the point of law and things like that." So I'm just trying to clear that. I'm not talking from the point of law, because when we take some of these issues to the point of law, then the decisions is very, very gonna be different. You see, because the positions in the law is quite straightforward, and when you look at the logo for the law logo, it's blind. You see, so when we say some things, we're saying it's from social benefits and what people can benefit. You see, we don't really have to take ourselves to court and for third parties to be involved before we sort things out. Regarding Ada and Ade, the competing couples, it's a shame. Ada married at the age of 35. Given the age that she got married, she always says to herself, "I will do anything and everything to protect my marriage," in Ada's saying. It must work. That's her logo, I think. I can never be a single parent. That is another verdict she has given to herself. Ada works in a federal university as a senior lecturer and was given the privilege to excel by being sponsored for a doctoral program abroad. At first, Ada travels abroad without the family with her. After a few moments, she would like her husband and 4 children to join her, but could not convince husband by herself. So Ada did the smart thing. She went through their pastor to help talk to Ade. The consultation with the pastor yields a positive outcome. Finally, Ade agreed to join Ada, but on a condition. On the condition that he too wants to study without working. So both couples are simultaneously undertaking a doctoral degree abroad. Things gradually become tougher for Ada, who is parenting, working, and at the same time studying. But don't forget, Ade is doing nothing. So she had to look for 3 different jobs for Ade, who has been complaining that he could not find a job. While Ada plans to return home and continue her Ade plans to settle abroad. Given these controversies, coupled with other related issues, the circumstances increasingly deteriorate. Though a vow to protect the relationship from crashing remains intact, however, to Ade, anything is welcome to happen. And the question is, how could the situation be reconciled to keep the protection vow? Oh no. So this is Ade and Ada. Both are learned, educated, they've gone to school to study. But sadly, I think they have communication problem in this regard, because if from the onset, Ada's not free to talk to her own husband, to convince her husband to say that this is the next plan for or within the family, and she had to sought the approval or the help of the pastor to talk to the husband, then there's a red flag somewhere. It's just a time bomb, which is gonna go off at some point, you see. So, and unfortunately, it did happen. But I'm glad that Ada is still in the marriage, which is a good job. I give kudos to her. Well done, Ada. Keep it up. It's not easy, but the Lord will see you through. The first problem they have is communication problem, because somebody somewhere in that marriage feels or thinks or treats the other person like inferior. One person is superior to the other and the other person is inferior. So there's this inferiority complex in place. And when you have this, it's a kind of tight corner. So it's really hard to blend both together. So if the Ade who said he's not interested in abroad now came to abroad under a condition that I'm going to use my wife, whether she wants to die or live is her problem. So the wife has to run helter-skelter to get money to sponsor education and do all sorts of things. This is not fair. I'm so sorry, because some people might say, why is it about just women or injustices and things like that? But let's think about it. Most of the time, especially from our African background, the culture that we come from, most of the men believe they are superior. After God is them. So they make the rules, they keep the rules, they decide what happens, they decide who takes what share. So, and if you are not into that, you pay the price, sadly. So, and one of the prices that Ada has got to pay is the fact that she has to run helter-skelter abroad, doing multiple jobs. Sadly, this scenario is the kind of life most women abroad nowadays are living. You see some of them, they are forced to abandon their own child or children at home. Some even lock them up just to quickly pick up some quick jobs to keep the family going. You see, this is not a very good idea, because in the end, with Ade, when he finishes his PhD, what is he gonna do with it? The money he gets or earn, who are you working for? Are you working for yourself or your family? Your priority first should be your family. When I say family, your immediate family first. Your wife is your first family. Your children is next. You brought them to this world. You approached that woman. You went up to her to say, and you took yourselves to altar. Somebody said, I want to marry. Can you marry me? I want to marry. And the other person said, yes, I want to marry. Yes, I do. You see, so where's all this love gone? So it's kind of it's very hard. It's going to be very, very hard for Ada to be able to strike a balance between the kind of job life she's living and what Ade wants to live, because now she wants to go back to continue her job, and most of the time when you are being sponsored from work to go and study, they expect you to come back, and pay back to the system. It's just like this place when they say they spend public money on you, they expect some things, some form of appreciation back. So it's a bit tricky. It's it's time for Ada now to choose between the family and work. Unfortunately, because Ada is used to work, you see, work, no rest, work, no play, she's likely gonna go for her job. So this puts the family life, in question. Yeah, it's likely gonna strain the family, but well, she can still reconcile a vow about not jeopardizing her marriage by trying to go a little bit more further in her sacrifice. And one of those sacrifices is if the husband says he wants to remain abroad, probably she needs to extend her stay abroad as well to be able to keep her vow about her marriage. If she doesn't want to remain single and she doesn't want to go back to the singles club, then it's better she stay back abroad with the husband, suffering and smiling, just keep on praying to God one day. Victory is sure, you see. So may God help us from all this situation.
Thank you very much. This is really, really interesting. And a question just kicked in my head as you mentioned about love. Can you please briefly touch on what is love really?
Well, there's so many writings, so many books, so many authors trying to define what love is. So many talks. If you go on the dictionary's got its own. If you go on Wikipedia, so many definitions of love. But my understanding about our perception, I'm going to use that because I really don't have a definition for love. I'm sorry. Because we can love anything. It's not just about human. It's not just about husband and wife. Yeah. So if love can take place anywhere, anytime, with anything, some people just love nature. Yeah. So, and some people just love animals, material things. Some people love children. So it depends on what's your priority. But when we bring it back into the context of what we are discussing today, which is relationship, every one of us is guilty about the fact that we always believe love is something that we should be able to feel, we should be able to touch, we should be able to assess, we should be able to hug or embrace or a kind of show off for it, you see. So, and I think this is where the problem lies, because then how do you measure it? How do you determine that, yeah, I got love? So if you cannot measure or determine or say, yeah, I've got love, if your husband loves you, he just say, okay, I love you. It's words, it's 4-letter words, love. So it now comes back to your interpretation of love. Some people, love to them is making love. Probably sex is the meaning of love to some people. So, and if you are not there doing the pick thing, then they believe love is missing in the marriage. And in fact, love might not be missing. You see, and some people feel to be loved is to feel like they have a companion in the marriage. They want a chatta, but someone that they can be chatting with. And if the husband, unfortunately, is a quiet person who doesn't really like talking too much, then they think, oh, he doesn't love me anyway. Oh, just wasting my time. So, in a nutshell, I want to say that there is nothing like love. It's a situation we create. So whatever we create is what's is what we get, you see. And that way it's gonna bring us out of the fact that we do a tit for tat thing, like, I said I love you, you have to respond I love you back. What if that person doesn't even know what, just saying it's something and things like that. So then artificial problem is going to kick in. We just create some problem that is not there. So, and all these words are just there to make us go crazy sometimes, because then you're wondering, what have I done? What has he done? This, that, but what have I done wrong? He doesn't love me. He doesn't show me love anymore. So, but just drop that for a minute and just take a step back and look at the most important things. There are other much more important things in life than just attaching your happiness to love and your love to happiness, and if you don't get what you want, you think, oh, I'm sad, I'm not happy today, then I'm not loved, you say. So love is something, is something that comes from above. It's a divine thing that you cannot even express, you cannot define, you cannot describe that this is it, because your description or your definition is very, very likely going to be different from mine, and my understanding is going to be different from yours.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I hope I didn't answer your question.
So yeah, you did. Yeah, that's really interesting. And that will take us further down to ask the next question about to what extent is love an antecedent of a peaceful relationship? If love is what we are creating, what we create is what we get.
Exactly.
So,
well, I think I disagree with that. It cannot be antecedent, because what you don't have you can give. If we don't create love, if it's not something that is yeah, if it's not something that is I don't know how to describe it, like it's not real, let me use that word. so so relationship doesn't really depend on love. It depends on individual. What do you mean to say peace? Some people, if they are able to have the free sleep at night, no disturbances, then he or she is peaceful. Some people, if they are able to get a solid food at the right time, that person is peaceful. You see, and some people, they just want to remain in the comfort of their homes. They don't like going out and things like that. So if you try to drag them out, then you're going to go against their peaceful existence. So it makes me feel like love is good, is great. You know, you have to create what is your own love and what is your own definition of love. Then probably that might define the extent of your peaceful relationship.
That's amazing. So briefly, can we then have a definition for what is a peaceful home?
A peaceful home is, every one of us, we want to live in a house. We don't really, we feel sorry when we see people living in the streets. Bad weather, horrible storm, wind, not warm enough and things like that. We feel sorry for them, you say. So yeah, so if you say creating peaceful home is the job of both husband and wife. Yes, the husband and wife, we have to be determined. We have to work cooperatively. We have to be ready, you know, emotionally, to create a peaceful home. We have to be able to support each other. It's a mutual thing. Creating a peaceful home is not something that one person can do. A woman cannot achieve a peaceful home just by herself saying, okay, do as I do, go as I go, bam. And you say, oh no, because they say I should achieve a peaceful home, so I have to behave like a robot in the house. That's not what peaceful home is. You see, peaceful home is, you should be able to feel secured in your four walls, even if you don't have a mansion, you don't have a big house, even just living in a one room. Be comfortable, be happy, be confident, be able to show that this is who I am, this is where I belong. That is a peaceful home. Some people have this mansion and big houses and they don't have peaceful home. So having a peaceful home is a mutual job. It's not the job of the husband to create a peaceful home in the house and say, my wife is a troublesome person, I have to ignore her, or I have to just behave, I have to talk to the TV all the time, or I have to watch the football just to do away with her annoyance and her silly behaviors. So with this is not peaceful home, because you're just sweeping things under the carpet, and in the end it's going to backfire one day. So
thank you very much. So now we go to the fourth case. This is about Jamila with no children. I will leave it to Barrister Hamdalah to do the summary and provide our insights.
Yeah, Jamila was married to a wealthy family. 3 years after marriage, Jamila could no longer bear the in-laws ruling her home for her. Jamila, the wife, aspirations for education led her to return to education, thereby required her to travel abroad. When planning the trip, Adam, the husband, gave her two options. One, going abroad and consider the marriage done. Two, staying with him but no further studies. Jamila chose the former. Luckily, she was a government-sponsored candidate. She completed her PhD in management and got a well-paid teaching profession, but without access to her two children. On several occasions, Jamila has attempted and tried to see her children, but to no avail. While Adam remarried, the two children remained with his parents. Also, Jamila remarried and still praying to God for more children. How would you describe Jamila? Well, to many people, they will say Jamila is a career woman. She chooses her career above her marriage. Fair enough, is good. I'm likely to go a bit different because there's no crime in having aspiration. She did have aspiration for education, but where she got it wrong is that there are other better ways of doing it other than abandoning your family and the children. You see, we've got scenarios where people work for the family, the husband and the children to come along to study or to come along to stay with them or to come along to accompany them. Is a kind of support even to the wife as well, because then if you have your family with you, you'll be able to concentrate. So that's is a very tight one. She's chosen what matters most to her from our judgment, and everyone is entitled to their own decision. And then when you make a decision, the consequences, one should be ready to face it and accept it, especially when you are doing what you think you enjoy. So she's taking after the choices that she loves most, which is education and following her career suit. All I can say is to wish her well in a new marriage, that may God provide her with new beautiful children that she can look into their faces and their makeup. But I would like to point out into the fact that the scenario did said that she was married to a wealthy family. It means the family, the husband, can conveniently support her to finance her, or in fact relocate the children with her to go with her to study. And because it's Jamila and Adam, this is a Muslim family, the husband is entitled to marry, to go into second, third, or fourth marriage as he chooses, which shouldn't have any negative effect on the marriage itself or on Jamila or the children or anyone. These are issues that when there's some breakdown in communication, little things that are not meant to lead to issues becomes big issues that we not till the end. So I pray and I wish her well in her choice.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly bring us back to the notion of decisions and choices.
Okay.
So, because in this aspect, though she had that aspiration to go further in her studies, which is not a bad thing. As you say, some people may describe her as a career lady, that she chose her career over the family. But how or what other ways could she have go about this?
Yeah, the other way she could have gone about it is to sought help from closer family members to have help talk to the husband. The husband might have respected personalities in his life who he can listen to. He could have tried to use all of this as well, not just saying, okay, me and you, we spoke about this, and come and make my decision, and that's it. So there's always room for improvement, and there's always room for you to ask clarity about questions that you don't understand. If indeed she doesn't really understand that the consequence is going to be this great, there are other ways about doing it. They can seek help from professionals to intervene, especially in the issue of the children's custody. She's a parent, she's a mother, she's meant to have access to her own children.
Thank you very much. That's really interesting. We appreciate your contribution in that regard. We move on to the fifth case, and this is about Blessing and Joshua. And in contrast to Jamila case with no children, let's go back to case 4. There's something about case 4 that she doesn't have the children with her, but she attained her qualification. She was able to complete her study. So before we move on to the fifth case, because now the objective of this lecture is to foster educational advancement in relation to choice, completion, and attainment. So now let's come back to that regard. She doesn't have the children, and she got her qualification, and she was able to complete her study. Because when we go to the next case, she is with the children, but she was not able to complete the study. She was not able to get the qualification.
I get you. Yeah, it's one of the prices that you have to pay when you make some decisions, especially as a woman, as a female. It's kind of hard, you know, especially from the culture that we are coming from as well. Is quite more rampant there. I think most men believe that once they marry a woman, they possess you, they own you. So most men treat their wife as if I'm your owner, I own you. You see, you are my property. You know, forgetting that even, you see, most of these things, I will cite the example of Islam, for example. Gone are those days in Islamdom when people inherit women, or when they bury their female children, infants alive. But the Prophet ﷺ has come to rescue women. He has come to rescue us, and he gave us so much right and asked our men to treat us more better. And the best way of doing that is he showed by himself. His way of life, he set it down as an example. There's so many hadiths there where the Prophet has said that he is the best to his wife and children, his family, and that makes him the best among his women. So if this is the kind of leader we have, if he is our role model indeed, so I know the Prophet ﷺ doesn't restrict women. We have women sahabiyat, they listen, they sit down around the Prophet, they give hadith. The Prophet's wife, Aisha radiallahu anha, you know, she gave us, she transmitted so much of the hadith that we have today. If she's been deprived the education or the opportunity to talk to the husband or ask questions, sensible questions, I mean here, how on earth will we be able to gain that massive knowledge from her? So what I'm saying is that if we continue depriving females, our women, our wives from aspiring education, don't forget that the first classroom for your children is your wife. So, and what you don't have, you can't give. If your wife is that woman who is selling newspaper on the road and cannot even read the content of that newspaper, how will she be able to support your child in his mathematics homework? How will she be able to support your child in writing a comprehension English? How will she be able to support your child when it's WAEC time and remind them about go and read your book? When you finish reading, come and show me what you have written. Only a woman that you have supported into education will be able to make sure the children got proper education as well. So in this case, fine, I congratulate Jamila that she's got what she wants. Because if she didn't get it, if she didn't go to that school and she remained in that marriage, she's going to remain in that marriage unhappy. Then this is where the question you asked before regarding love comes in. It means our love in that marriage is depending on our educational attainment. When she doesn't get it, she's going to remain in that marriage for maybe 20, 30, 40 years miserably. Thinking that, oh, after all, I didn't get what I want. After all, I didn't go to school. I love to go to school. I love to study more. It didn't let me. So there's going to be these burning feelings going on in our head, the guilt, self-guilt, and everything like that, which doesn't really look good for the family at large.
Thank you so much once again. So we will move on to the fifth case. Can you please take your drink? Please take your drink. So before we move on to the fifth case, and briefly, it is blessing with children. However, like I said earlier, she was not able to complete her study and she couldn't attain the qualification as well. Well, I'll leave it to our barrister to provide a summary and insights from her perspective.
Well, unlike Jamila, Blessing has drive for education as well, which makes their cases similar. Having enjoyed 5 years of our marriage, she thought she could win her husband over by upgrading herself, which to me doesn't sound too bad. Unfortunately, after her application was successfully considered for a doctoral program abroad, Joshua, the husband, no longer supports her decision. So she had to choose between the marriage or to study. The latter was chosen and she went abroad for her studies, leaving the family behind. After a while, Joshua told her to come for the 2 children. So Blessing did. With a baby on the way, caring for 2 children and coping with the PhD pressure were not easy tasks for her. Unfortunately, after 2 years of the program, Blessing quitted her study, but in possession of her 3 children. Joshua remarried and have other children with his new wife. Blessing would like to remarry and have more children, but still single. Would you blame Blessing for taking the children with her or not? Well, fantastic. This is very interesting because one part, one didn't take children, was able to carry on with the study. The second part took the children, couldn't continue. This shows you the impact and the kind of sacrifices women make in marriages. When you get married, it's just you and your husband. It's me and my husband. You live a Romeo and Juliet life. And when you start having children, the ball changes. The circumstance change. Priorities changes. And this is where the problem sets in. Now, I feel so sorry for Blessing because after all the efforts and the sacrifices, and she's almost lost everything, which very sad in the end. But I congratulate her on another hand that at least she's got her children. So whatever it is that she's looking forward to study and she's not able to study, she can always give the children the support to be able to study more than she do. The only thing she needs to do is to make sure that she seeks support whenever it's needed. And unfortunately, it just shows that any marriage that lacks support is not really going to work. We have to be supportive to each other. That way, the family grows. The family is what grows. The family gross earning, gross income advances, increases as well. So it means their level of living as well, their standard of living grows higher when both couples support each other. That way, there's no behavior of who takes who or who does that. There's no crime in a woman aspiring to have more education or to work. But balancing it is very, very important. It's so sad that with the children, it's very hard, especially studying abroad. It's difficult. She's going to need plenty support. So when you don't get it, these are some of the prices that is meant to come from it. So many people have gone through this. Some people are still going through it. Or the only thing I can say is just to pray for her. Probably what she could have done differently is to have it. We think like in Islam, when things like this happen Islamically, the father have more preference to priority, like on the child custody. So it's number one person. So at least if it's chose to remarry, the new wife can look after the children. After all, they are her husband's children. But for Blessing, all I can do is to wish her good luck in her future choices that she's going to make.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your inputs and the contribution. That's really great. We quickly go to the closing question.
Okay.
Because you mentioned about balancing. So let's ask Marista, which approach is best for a balanced relationship? Or is there even any approach towards a balance?
Yeah, the best approach to have a balanced relationship, even though no relationship is likely, because every relationship is different, sincerely, but at least maintain the medium bit. Don't be too extreme, don't be too rigid. We should be able to sacrifice, to let go, and to be able to accept this from each other. If you drag something and it's not working, just let it go. Let it go. And then if not, then one's going to be tending towards the hard line. Rather than going to the hard line, just let it go.
Thank you very much. I won't take much of your time. We'll go to the next question. Is there any universal theory or approach to that peaceful home that we discussed earlier?
There is, I haven't come across any universal theory in that respect. But what I can say is every one of us is our own Aristotle. Every one of us is our own Plato.
Yeah.
So every one of us is in charge of creating our own universal theory that's going to work for us. What works for me is likely going to work for somebody else. And what works in another person's home, if I try to bring that into my home, it's likely not to work. But as a Muslim, the best of the universal theory is the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet.
Thank you very much. So what advice do you have for people going through similar issues or situations?
Well, my advice for people going through similar situation is we should try to get our priorities right. Mm-hmm. When we get our priorities right, it's going to be easy for us to let go. Mm-hmm. I know most people, they say, be patient, have patience, this, that. Yeah, there's no crime in it, but I have 5 things and I stick them on the wall. Every morning I go and have a look at it, have a peek. What have I done? What have I not done right? The first thing, if you want to have a balanced relationship, you want your aspiration, attain whatever educational and every other thing, and a peaceful home in it. Number 1 thing, love God. You have to love your God as number 1. Okay? You have to love God as your priority.
Yeah.
Love God first. Love God number 1. Love God. It's very, very important to love God. Number 2 is to love your spouse. Mm-hmm. If you love your spouse, we can easily let go and we can accept things for each other. Then it's going to be easier for us to support each other. Mm-hmm. So it is very, very important. Number 1, love God. Number 2, love your spouse. Number 3, love your children. Mm-hmm. If you are in a relationship that you have children, don't forget to think about the impact on your children. Mm-hmm. If you think about the impact on the children, your decision is likely to be different from whatever decision you are meant to take before. Number 4, love your work for God. If you are doing anything charitable or pro bono work or things like that, it's good, it's fine. That's number 4. Then number 5, lastly, is to love your source of income. Unfortunately, your source of income comes last. That's meant to be the last thing you're supposed to love. But most of these scenarios, we put our love for source of income above our love for God, love for spouse, love for children, and love for the work of God that we are doing. Because every one of us does work for God in one way or the other in our whole little way. So your love for your source of income should come last. Because when you are not there, that job is going to carry on. If you lose your mental health, your mental stability, if you lose your life, your company is going to replace you same day. Yeah. They're not going to mourn you and close the business. So if whatever it is you aspire, they can wait. There's time. You can do that maybe later in the years. Yeah. You don't have to do it that time. You can just wait, postpone it if you want to go for further education and your husband says, no, your spouse says it's not time for it, or I'm not in for that. Just carry on, be patient, be prayerful, talk to the creator of both of you. With that and determination that, okay, I'm still going to go, I just know it's not the time to go yet. So that way we'll be able to carry on, you see, and we'll be able to reconcile whatever differences that we might have.
Thank you very much.
You
So now we're going to come to your own personal experience. We want to borrow from your own personal experience. What factors inform your own educational aspiration? I know you study in the UK, so there must be something that has driven you, something that has motivated you.
Well, I just noticed that when I was growing up, I love studying and I love education so much. In my family, we are 5 girls, we are all girls. We have boys, but they are my siblings, like step brothers. So, you know, it is normal in African context. You think, okay, the boys get more when it comes to education, whatever they want, they get it. So I just say, well, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna study more. I just want to be educated because I love education and I love to teach. So if you love to teach, what you don't have, you cannot give. If I want to teach my children and I don't know it, then I'm not going to be able to teach them. I'm not going to be able to support them. And if I want to teach some of the children around me or some other people, what you don't have, you cannot give. If I don't know it, there's no way I can carry other people along. So I see myself as an instrument that, okay, if I go to school, I can help some other women who are not able to go to school. I can set up some other educational facilities, platforms that can help other people like me who might be struggling, you know. So, well, from my experience, I think my greatest motivation is the fact that I am a girl child, and I feel so much highly in love with education. I really don't see my gender as the reason why I shouldn't go further for education. So, and that has always been my driving force. Hamdalah.
Thank you very much for that. So, in terms of strategy that can help other people to overcome their own barriers, or in terms of your own personal barriers as well, like you said, you don't think gender as an issue to obstruct. Yeah. So, how do you manage some of the strategies that you have used to overcome any other barriers in your way in your academic journey life?
Well, the first thing is the trust in God that I say. I believe I didn't choose to be who I am. I didn't choose to come as a girl. So if my creator has made, he created me like this in this form and fashion. So I just believe I need to bring the best out of me, the me in me. So, and that has always been my strength. So, and with that, I'm able to face every challenge is like a determination that, well, hang on, I didn't create myself, I didn't make myself, I didn't choose to be a girl, I didn't choose to be a woman, I didn't choose to be a mother, you know, Allah just chose it for me. So, and if I don't have control over who I am, so just be steadfast, be prayerful, and patient. So these are my watchwords. So determination, patience, steadfast, you know, and be ready to sacrifice. I bet it's not easy. Lots of sacrifices out there. It's not easy when you're pregnant and you have to study for exams. And if somebody in your stomach is doing and you know I have a paper tomorrow morning, I don't want to fail that paper. You see, so it's just one of the sacrifices you have to make as a female or as a woman. So
that is about the personal responsibility. Now let's go to the political accountability. What recommendations do you have for government bodies like Department for Education, International Development Department, or even the Minister for Home Affairs?
Yeah, I would like to encourage them to be more lenient on women, you know, give us more time off work if they need maternity leave and things like that. Some people might choose to go early and some people want to return to work later. Like myself, I love to breastfeed my children for 2 years because I see they have this beautiful immune system. So for my work, it means for more than 2 years, I'm not going to be in work. So, and I'm okay, I'm happy with that, you see. But what I make sure I do is I remain in work. They almost send me home when I'm almost due for labor. So it's just a way of the government should be more lenient and more understanding on the women folks. Try to put some machineries in place that's going to encourage women to go back to study, to go back to school, such that when they go back to school, when they study, the global effect is going to come back into the society. Because when a woman is highly educated, a medical doctor, for instance, our children is likely going to end up to become either medical doctor or lawyers or own a business or whatever. You will hardly, it's not really possible to have one of that person's child, maybe selling pure water in the streets. No, because somebody somewhere has broken the poverty, barrier and things like that. So this is very, very important to get rid of poverty in our midst. And in doing so, if the government wants to really achieve and they want to do justice to this, they need to support women, because we are the ones who is really doing the hard work. Mentally, emotionally, you need a woman in the house to build the home, and when the home is built, the society is built. So the return comes back to the society. But when you don't allow the woman to build the home, then the societal structure is defective. So I think it's very, very important, and I would like to encourage the government to put things in place to educate and to encourage women to go back to school. Things like reducing the school fees for women. So many ladies want to go back to school, but when they think about school fees, they think, oh my God, how am I going to survive? I'm going to pay childcare. I'm going to pay this, I'm going to pay that. Who's going to babysit for me? There's bills, there's things to go, So there's so much that the government can do, to support women. Number one is make citadel of learning available, easily accessible for women. They can even help by making the requirements that they require of women, the criteria for women more lenient, you see, and other things that can make the life easy. Women need creche to come, so that this can encourage women to come back into education.
For the kids, for those who have kids.
Yeah, and for those who have kids, they are likely going to need creche and other support for childcare and other things like that. And this is why, as a family, we have to work as a team.
Thank you very much. General advice for our youngsters out there to keep
my general advice to the youngsters out there is: marriage is sweet, marriage is interesting, marriage is lovely. Don't dream that you don't want to get married because of the challenges, because I saw somebody suffering or struggling with their marriage. Challenges is normal in human daily life. That is what makes us who we are. Your challenges can come from work. It might be your boss work. It might be, so if it's not coming from there and it's coming from your husband or it's coming from your wife, just take it, accept it as one of the challenges in life that you're going to face. That way we will be able to cope. And then to the youngsters out there, I want to encourage us to be determined, to be ready to sacrifice. Most people are not willing to sacrifice any longer. Everyone wants to have everything quick. They want to have it their own way. It doesn't work like that if you are serious about that institution marriage. If you are serious about the institution marriage and we don't want to end up being single, then you have to be ready to sacrifice and be prayerful. One of those weapons that can help us to survive in this life is being prayerful, because prayerful is going to imbibe some other things in your spiritual level. You have other things like being patient and having the soft heart, be able to overlook. But the most important thing is 3 of them that I want to leave our viewers with. Number 1, be determined, be ready to sacrifice, and be prayerful. Those are the 3 points.
Thank you. That's in relation to marriage, but in relation to education for the youth, to be able to complete and attain their education.
In order for the youth, I want to say that it's not going to be easy. It is very, very challenging and demanding. But I bet you, if you can sacrifice, if you can just go through the suffering, it's worth it. it makes you a better person. It makes you relevant in the society. It makes you relevant in this world. It makes you relevant even to yourself, because that way you are able to discover who you are and the something, the unique thing in you can come out, and you'll be that way. You will be the best person that people can even learn from. So the youth try to be a good ambassador of whatever it is you are doing. If you are an engineer, if you are a driver, if you are a painter, try to be a good ambassador. And if you are an educationist, you want to, be an ambassador of wherever you find yourself. Because the problem we have today is that the youths are so confused, they don't even understand themselves. When you see a youth writing something on the social media, you want to spell never, he wrote N-E-V-A. He's confused. That's not fun. And this is why you need to go back into education. All these things are not there yesterday. So if we are using all of this today, a time is going to come tomorrow that education is going to become rubbish. So I want to implore our youth to be more serious with education. Education is not fashion. Education is fun-filled, and it makes you fulfilled as well.
Okay. For those who cannot afford to go abroad, for this type of issue that we've been looking into, all this series of cases, what advice do you have? What other we can give you about all this program?
Wherever you are, there is education. There is education available. I started my education in Nigeria. I never even knew, I never thought, but I never dreamt that I will study abroad. So wherever you are, education is available. We are living in a world and a life that is much more easier now. Our own parents didn't have it the way we have it. So it means the generation after us is going to even have it a lot more easier than the way we have it. There's open universities now all over the place. So it means you don't have to go, you don't have to travel far. There's distance learning as well. You don't have to travel from Lagos to Enugu because you want to go to school. You can do distance learning. You can do so many things. You can do NCE, the National Education Program. You can go to Polytechnic. Just go after education, because it's not going to come after you. You have to go out there to search for it. So rather than wasting your life and your time on the social media, phone, using this and that, you can utilize that time judiciously in investing your worthy time in education.
Thank you very much. Let's say a big thank you for your inspirational lecture. We really enjoyed having you on the platform today, and we learned so much. And I hope people out there too could draw on your much of expertise and experience and what you share with us. That's great. And we want to say big thank you once again. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome
for being part of us today. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your resources. And to everyone out there, education is life. Education is life. All we need is determination. And now we are in the digital transformation world. Education is more accessible, doing short courses, free online courses. Some of them might be short, might not be like 4 or 5 years program, but it's just tap into the resources available to you, use it to your own advantage, and don't let time use it to its own advantage. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now, everybody. See you in the next lecture. This is part 3.